Hello, and welcome to My Streaming Bubble, the podcast where I talk about the shows I love with the people I tolerate. I am your TV watching and talking host, Jen, and today my podcast brain twin is back and all checked into her air bubble for our discussion on the dangers of Airbnbs, how to add square footage when selling your home, and the importance of breastfeeding, as we talk about the movie Barbarian. Hello, Erin, and welcome back. I realized I didn't actually say your name in the intro. I was like, my podcast brain twin. Like, everyone should just know who that is.
Well, frequent listeners of your podcast should know who that is. So,
yes.
You know, and if you're new, now you know.
Yeah, it's Erin from It's a Fandom Thing. So, hi.
Hi, Jen.
Thanks for being here today, being on
Thank
to talk
you.
about this movie. I'm very excited. But before we get started, if you would like to introduce yourself and your podcast to any new listeners.
Sure thing. So my name is Erin, and I'm oh, wait, that's the wrong meeting. You didn't catch it, did you?
No, I didn't. Sorry. Oh.
I'm trying to be goofy and silly, and it just didn't work. Maybe when you're going back and you're editing, you'll be like, oh, now I get it.
Yep.
Anyway, so my name is Erin, and I host a podcast called It's a Fandom Thing, where we cover fandom, pop culture. We cover like movies, books, television, music, everything you can possibly think of. Primarily from the female perspective, although I try to have it be from perspectives that you don't hear as often in the podcast world. So, yeah, you can find everything about us and links to our past episodes and all of that on our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing.
You're
Sorry,
welcome.
that's so darky. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is your official spoiler warning. So if you haven't seen the thing and you don't want it spoiled, pause the pod, watch the thing, and then come back. But before we get chatting, content warnings for incest, rape, kidnapping. It's not shown, but it's pretty damn obvious. Let's see what IMDb says. A woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. What I says about this movie, I says, this movie proves that Airbnbs are bad and to stop using them. Let's see. It's written. I've never been a fan of Airbnb since day one. And I have booked through Airbnb for, because it felt like more like I had to. Mm-hmm. But generally, I'm not a fan. But
yeah, I've only stayed at one once and it was horrible. Mm-hmm. It was awful. And I was like, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah. Yeah, we had gotten a cabin for one of our family vacations. And I'll say they really knew how to take pictures of this fucking cabin, because when we got there, I was like, oh, it's like very, very old. They took really good and a lot of pictures of all the new stuff that they had added on. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize there were death stairs and like just really narrow steps, and yeah. So I was like, not again. So. All right. Aside from that, this movie is written and directed by Zach Kreger, and it stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, Justin Long, Matthew Patrick Davis as the mother, and more. It is streamable currently on Netflix, and it looks like it's leaving at the end of August, and so I'm not sure where it's going to go after that. But you can rent or buy it on various streamers, and most importantly, it is free at your library. So, all right. Erin, so what are your general thoughts on this movie?
It's okay. No, no. I think this is one of the best horror movies of the last decade. I love this movie so much. I think the way this movie was marketed was genius because the trailer gave nothing away of what the movie really was. You went in there thinking it was going to be like this girl, woman meets this guy and he like kidnaps her and he's a barbarian and he's horrible to her. And it's not that at all. And when you get to the point where it reveals the mother, and the mother kills Bill Skarsgård's character. That was such a shock in the theater. I will never forget that, because everybody's just like, what? And then all of a sudden it cuts to Justin Long, and Justin Long singing in the car, and everybody's just laughing hysterically in the theater because it was such a shocker. It's not something you expected, you know. This film is so clever because it's really like there's a quote unquote monster or this hideous person, but really the Barbarian is men in general, and Justin Long's character is awful. So him too, but so it's like you kind of, in the end, you know, the real monster were the human beings. I mean, the mother is a human, but for all intents and purposes, the real monster are the male human beings overall. And I just thought that was great. And especially for a male writer and director to do that so well. And he had such a hard time getting this movie made because Blumhouse is one of the ones that turned it down, because everybody said, no one's going to want to see this movie because you change tone midway, and no one's going to want that. But he proved them wrong. So.
Sure did.
I love this movie. I love it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree. I fucking love this movie so much. I don't even think I watched the trailer. So, because, you know, I like to go in as like knowing as little as possible. So a lot of times I don't watch the trailers. So so when it got, so the whole first half of the movie, I'm just like very sus of Keith, played by Bill Skarsgård. Cause it's like, all right, you've got, I love what they did. They cast Bill Skarsgård, like a Skarsgård, like Bill Pennywise Skarsgård as a genuinely nice guy. Even through the first half of the movie, though, I always was, first time I watched it, I was worried. I was like, oh, is he going to be one of those, quote, nice guys that thinks he's a good guy, but is actually just kind of a piece of shit? No, he was genuinely a nice guy. And so when he died, I was like, oh, fuck. All the way up until that point, I still thought he was playing her and he was trying to trick her to get her down further into the tunnels. But then when the mother came up, that was terrifying. And just the way she bashes his head, I was like, oh, fuck. And then, yeah, it cuts to Justin Long, America's sweetheart, who plays like the worst fucking person possible. The most absolute biggest asshole. So the casting in of itself is fucking genius, because we learned that AJ, played by Justin Long, is a piece of shit pretty early on once we're introduced to him. But at first I was just like, oh, okay, you know, now we got Justin Long. He's happy. I love Justin Long, and he's singing. He's into it. And then I'm like, oh, you are not a good person at all. So absolutely brilliant. And I love that this movie, I love that it takes that shift and, you know, changes its direction. And now we're following AJ, and then we find out Tess is fine, which, thank God. Oh, yeah. Well, alive. But yeah, when I rewatched this a couple months ago, and because I hadn't rewatched it in a while, and I was like, fuck, this is such a great movie. And that's when I had to add it to the list of episodes. So, and I knew you were going to call dibs on it. And so, which is great, because I was like, yep, now Erin and I get to talk about this movie. So now, while I love rewatching this movie, I do kind of find that a bit of a small bummer, because you know what it is. So that first half of that movie, it's setting everything up and all, but there's just not that like sense of dread. Yeah. But otherwise, other than that, this movie is very rewatchable, and I love it, love it, love it so much. So what are some of your favorite parts about this movie?
Oh, man. So many parts. I want to just quickly second the casting thing, because that is part of why this movie works so well, is because Bill Skarsgård and I love the Skarsgård family, mm-hmm. and I think he's great, but he has that face that you can easily be like, okay, he's not trustworthy. He's scary. And then you're like, well, maybe he's not, but yeah, no, he probably still is, but what? And so that was perfect. And then Justin Long is like usually like the nerdy, goofy, nice guy. So it was the perfect casting. So just want to echo that. But this is like not a horror scene at all, but I don't know why. And this is why I actually would love to see Bill Skarsgård and my gosh, who plays Tess. I remember your name all of a sudden.
Yeah, now I got to scroll back up because all of a sudden my brain, Georgina Campbell.
They have great chemistry, and I'd love to see them like in a rom-com or something like that. But I don't know why, but the scene where Keith is putting the duvet cover and he's putting that, because I can never do that kind of stuff, and he does it so perfectly. There's something about that scene that is so charming, and at the same time, when you're first watching it, you're like, this is another way to kind of knock her off guard, kind of like, not knock her off guard, but kind of like mislead her and kind of make her think that he's this great guy when maybe he's not. So when you're first watching it, it's little scenes like that. And like the wine, when they're drinking the wine, and he's like, I know you didn't do the tea, which I'm so glad she did not drink the tea, and that she actually was, because she does do some stuff in this movie that legitimately is kind of stupid.
Yes.
But her not drinking the tea because she didn't see him make it, doesn't know if there's stuff in there because she left the room, smart thinking. And him saying, well, I'll make it, you can watch me. To me, those are other little moves where like, yeah, it's sweet, but as a woman, you're like, your spidey senses are tingling like, okay, well, he's throwing me off again. And then him being part of this collective that she is there to audition, to interview for a job, and he's the only one who's seen the documentary that this director made. And it's all these little things that make your spidey senses tingle, but in reality, there's nothing at all. Like him having that nightmare on the couch, that's another thing where you're like, oh my gosh, there's something weird with him or something going on. But no. So it's just, I think it's very clever in that way. So those are some of the scenes that really stick out to me, just because it's just planting little seeds for the audience and for Tess as well. And then I do, even though he's such a dick, but I still just love how AJ, he gets there, he finds all these tunnels, and instead of freaking out and being like, what the hell? He's like, this is awesome. And him getting the tape measure is so ridiculous. And him being in that room where, you just kind of like juxtapose that with when Tess finds the room with the camera and she's freaked out in the bed, like any person should be. And he goes in there and he's just like, oh my gosh, it's a whole new room. And he does say gross when he touches something, but he's not at all concerned. He's not at all worried. He's not at all like, why is there a video camera up here? And then going down further and not being like, what the fuck? Instead, he's like, oh, this is awesome. The tape measure. It's so perfect because it plays into a big theme of this that I think is like, women have to be so much more aware than men. And that just plays into it, where he's just like, whatever.
He goes past the cages and it's fucking nothing. Like, what?
I know. It's like, okay, seriously? You have like no reaction at all to any of that. So those are some of my favorite. I could just basically say the whole movie, but and the ending, which I don't know, we'll probably get to that differently. So, but yeah, those are some of mine.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually brought up the duvet cover, because I'm just like, every time I watch, I'm like, okay, what is it that he's doing?
I know.
And is it effective? And how do I do that? Slow it down. Post like an instructional video, Keith, because I don't know. But it was actually like, it is just really kind of cute because he's being a little silly and everything. But totally agree with all these kind of little moments that on your first watch, it's like, yeah, in the kind of scheme of things, it's like, oh, that's not that big of a deal, But like one of the things that I wrote down was when they were sitting down when they first sit down, and he's asking her questions like, oh, so why are you in town? Oh, job interview. And he's asking questions about her, right? Like that is always kind of a big deal, especially like, you know, when couples are like first dating or something, you know, that's a flag that people I think look for is how much does he ask about her and how much does he talk about him? So it's like, yeah, in the outside world, like that's pretty nice. But in this movie, in that moment, the first time watching it, I'm like, why? That's none of your business. I was just so skeptical. And yes, same thing. All these little things that he was doing, I was like, yeah, you're playing like that nice guy, that good guy. Like, but I just, you know, it's like, it's got to be a setup for something. And even when after she finds the room and the tunnel and after locked in the basement and everything, and she's telling him about it, and she's very panicked and frightened, as she should be. And he's just coming into this. So he's kind of more cool, calm, collected, and confused. Oh, alliteration. And he's just like, I don't know. He's like, there's a bed and a bucket. He's like, that sounds pretty normal. And it's like, if you don't think about what that room actually looks like, and it's just you imagine just a blank room, it's still kind of weird. But yeah, he doesn't think it's a big deal at all. And he's just like almost, I don't want to say dismissive, you know, because he's not. He's just trying to understand what the fuck she's talking about because she is panicked. And on first watch, I'm just like, dude, it was aggravating me because I'm like, you know what's down there. I was convinced he was the bad guy. I was convinced he was the barbarian. And so the whole time I'm like, you're just playing dumb. You know what's down there. Why are you trying to like gaslight her that it's not a big deal, all these things. But now upon rewatches, it's like, he's just confused. She's locked in a like he comes back to the Airbnb and just, she's locked in the basement. What the fuck? How did you get down there? What's going on? And I can understand that he didn't let himself get caught up in that and that he's trying to look at things objectively and be like, no, really, what's going on? But yeah, it's like I said, first watch, everything he did was suspect. And then, yeah, why do people go down into dark, scary places and then don't communicate? Like... It's when he got down there and everything, she's like, Keith, and do you see it? And he's like, yeah. And then like nothing. And it's what happens in movies and shows all the time. I understand, but it's one of those things that makes it feel very interactive because I'm just like, now I'm like, well, he can't say anything because mother's got him. And, you know, like all these things. I'm just like, no, stop. And even the first time watching, when she finds the door and she first opens it and she nopes, I was like, smart at a girl. And then curiosity got the best of her. And I was just like, no. So when you say she did things that dumb decisions that made scream, that was one of them. That was one of the dumb decisions that she makes that makes me scream even to this day. I'm just like, don't do it, but you're gonna. So, I think I rambled a little too far on that one, but oh god, let's see what else. Yeah, duvet cover, nopes out of the creepy. So okay, if you found some weird, creepy secret door and some weird, creepy, nasty room. Well, even before you find the room, you find the door. Would you go and check it out? Like,
okay, I'm going to say, I mean, you'd say no, but I do want to say, though, it would depend because I really think you'd be sitting there long enough that the curiosity would get the best of you. But I would only do it if someone else was there with me. Mm-hmm. Especially if there was like a group of us or something. Yeah. You'd be like one person stand guard or something like that. So I think curiosity would get the best of me after a while, but my initial reaction would be no way, especially alone. Mm-hmm. And especially when she's like gets locked down there afterwards, I would have been like, there's no way I'm ever going back in there. Mm-hmm. So logically no, but I do think there's that part of you, because when you watch horror movies, that's what's so funny. You're like, why do people walk in and they go, hello? And I've done that. So, and not even thinking, I've done that where I've walked in and I'm like, and I hear some weird noise and I'm like, hello? And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? So I think it's just like, even though we are like, you wouldn't do that, that's dumb. I think there is this natural human curiosity where you're like, well, I kind of got to know. Would you?
I would have to say a very similar answer. Like, I think I would love to be like, no, I would never do that. But I'm curious and kind of stupid. So I totally would have gone down there. But I would have been very, very paranoid that secret door would have still somehow like closed shut, because with the basement door doing that, I'm like, what other doors are rigged to shut and lock, people into things? So that would have I would have made sure that was not a possibility, even if it wasn't feasible. I'm like, I ain't taking any chances. But yeah. And then especially after seeing The Room, I'd be like, I would have bashed that fucking window out like she does at the end and then crawled out, because that is a giant fucking nope.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh, it's so gross. Yeah. So, and then we meet AJ, and he's a piece of shit, like right off the bat, a piece of shit. I will have to say that I like that with his accusations, he gets fired from his job. There's going to be a big article run. His name's getting smeared. His wealth management guy drops him. Like, everyone's just bailing on him. I'm like, more of that in the real world, please.
I know.
Please, this is so much fiction.
I know, sadly it is. I'm like, this is awesome. It's happening so quick, but this would not sadly happen this way.
Yeah. Oh, and then the fact that he just thinks he can leave. He can leave state. He's like, yeah, he's going to liquidate and sell or whatever. But it's like, dude, how do you not know not to leave state? Like, I guess that's maybe the true crime like fan in me, where it's like there's certain things that women just don't do, or you watch enough stuff and like, oh yeah, you don't leave state if you're a suspect in anything or accused. And I know this because I watch like crime shows and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's just like, he just needs to watch more Law and Order.
Well, he's convinced that he did nothing wrong. Like, even in the end, like towards the end, when he's like, yeah, maybe I'm a bad person. Maybe I did bad things. Like, but I don't think I everybody makes mistakes. Even good people make mistakes sometimes. I'm like, you're just convincing yourself you're not a bad person. I'm like, because here you are, you're confronted with this man who's dying down there in the tunnels, who's an awful, horrible man who had done all these horrible things to women. And he's watching one of the tapes and sees what he does. And I'm just like, the gall of you to be so outraged by that when, maybe what you did in comparison is not as horrible, but you still like really harmed someone significantly. And you're just like, well, at least I'm not like this dude.
Right.
And yet you push Tess off the building. That's
exactly. Yeah. When AJ finds Frank in the videos, and it's almost comical the way he reacts, because it's like, dude, you might not have taken it to that extreme that Frank did, but you both are kind of like, I'm pretty sure AJ looks at that woman that he assaulted as more or less like a conquest or a trophy up until the accusations. I was like, and that's exactly what all those videotapes and shit are for Frank. I was like, you guys are accuser adjacent. Like, you're cousins in the accuser world. Like, you're not any better. And then there was that when he is kind of almost remorseful. There was that, especially the first time watching it, I was like, oh shit, is this character going to have like a moment? Is he coming around? Like, fuck no, because the second Mother bursts through the wall and everything and kills Andre, the unhoused fella, fucking AJ bolts.
I know. He's such a dick.
I was like, oh, so that did not last long at all. So you are not remorseful. He's such a piece of shit. When he accidentally shoots Tess, and he's like, I'm rescuing you. I'm saving you now. Like, oh, God. I'm so like, fuck you, man.
I know. And he says that to her, too, at the end.
Oh, yeah.
After he pushed her off, and then he goes and says, I'm saving you. I'm like, dude, you're not saving her. You're the one who pushed her down. You know, in his brain, he's like, this is my redemption arc right here. This is how Hollywood will take me back, is I rescued this woman. I saved her. And so they're going to, you know, applaud me and give me all these awards and accolades, and nothing bad's going to happen to me. That's what his thinking is. You know, that's what he's thinking in that moment, because he doesn't give a shit about her. No. Meanwhile, she was gone. She was away. She could have left him there. And, you know, there's a big part of you that's like, just leave him there. He's so horrible. But she doesn't. She, like, tries to rescue him. She tries to get the cops. The cops are assholes.
Oh, yeah.
And then she goes and rescues him. And it's like, seriously? She did all that. And you can't even, like, I don't know. Yeah. You push her off a building. It's like, okay.
God. And then even when he was trying to, quote, save her after pushing her off, throwing her off the fucking water tower, he starts to be like, well, you slipped and you started to slide. And what could I do? Like, oh my God, you could shut your fucking mouth first and foremost. Like, holy, the fucking audacity. So I love Justin Long. He played AJ so beautifully, because I want nothing but terrible things to happen to that character.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I was very happy when he died.
Yes. His death was very satisfying. I was very happy with that. So, let's talk about Tess. What did you think of Tess and how she is, and Tess as a final girl?
Despite some of the stupid decisions, like I said, I think some of us would have made some of them. I mean, her first decision of going in there to the house, while at the same time it's kind of stupid, the other part of it is like, well, is she going to be safe in her car? Is she going to be, you know, all of that? But I love her. I think she's so great. I think she's a great final girl. And she gets put through hell, absolute hell. Mm-hmm. And so she earns that surviving at the end. She earns that. And she never gives up. And she lets, like, her humanity, I think, is what kind of eventually, like, saves her, and her empathy. Because she has that moment with the mother where the mother is just like, you're my baby. You know, I'm going to take you back. We'll go back together. And her just being, I can't go back there. I can't go back there. And it's like this moment of, you know, I don't know, like this bonding moment where they almost see each other. And she is so empathetic, and she goes along with everything, like drinking from the gross, disgusting bottle. I know. It's so gross with all, like, the little hairs. Like, it's so gross. But she goes along with it because she knows if she doesn't, she's going to be in trouble and die. Mm-hmm. And so she's smart because she uses her natural empathy to save herself, basically. So I think that's what's so interesting about her. And I really appreciate that about this character. And I think the performance is really good. All around, I think she's excellent. I have no issues with her at all. So, yeah.
I agree. She was a great final girl. I completely agree. She doesn't ever give up. It's like, yes, of course, we know AJ is a piece of shit. So we're just like, no, you don't have to go back for him. It's fine if you leave him there, you know, but it's like, yes, she's a good person. She's, like you said, empathetic. And I also wonder too, if there isn't like a little bit of like survivor's guilt with Keith and not being able to save him or help him or go any you know, now that she knows that someone else was down there and everything. And I also think it's kind of interesting, and I didn't think about it till just when you were talking about her empathy, because AJ refers to Mother as it. When he first finds Frank, he's like, I'm going to call the cops and, you know, they'll get that, you know, they'll get it. And, you know, it'll pay for what it did to me, this and that. But she refers to Mother as her, or, you know, female pronouns. And I think just something small like that shows what a difference these two characters, like how different these two characters are and how they see other people. And like I said, that just came to my mind. So thank you for that. I'm just like, oh my
That's
God.
awesome. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but that's so true.
Yeah. And I have to say, her performance, especially when she's first going down looking for Keith in the tunnel, the fear in her voice, the shakiness, the kind of like, it just, like, you just feel scared hearing her scream, like, Keith, like, oh my God, I can't even like begin to try and replicate that because it felt so fucking real. She's like, oh, brave gal. And, you know, when she did go down to try and save AJ, I love that she went down with that confidence. She knew that no one else was going to save her. Those cops are fucking useless. The operator was fucking useless, too, when she called before that when the homeless guy was running towards her. Like, no, don't go in there. And she called the cops or whatever, 911, and the operator's like, what? Is he still there? Like, just... like, what is wrong with these people?
I know.
Oh, my God.
Pretty realistic, though, I think.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. And then I couldn't help but wonder, too, about the whole, like, especially with how dismissive the cops and the operator were. Like, is this perhaps a comment on how women are not believed? And I'm like, why, yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah. I think it definitely is.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, and we have to have like the random kind of quote wacky crazy guy with the water tower guy. According to closed captioning, his name was Andre. So what'd you think of Andre? What'd you think of this fella and playing that role that, you know, to give all that information about a little bit more context?
Yeah, I mean, he's there for that and to give kind of like a very brief history of what's going on. But what I like about the Andre character is that typically in horror movies, you have a character like that. That character would be quote unquote crazy or would be like the weird old guy in Friday the 13th, you know, and so they would never seem smart or like a good person. And I understand. I would have been terrified like her if some guy's just running at me like that.
Uh-huh.
Yes, typical, like, makes sense response. But the fact that he's actually a nice person and he's not at all really weird or crazy or anything like that, I think was nice to show that not all unhoused people are, quote unquote, crazy or I don't know. I just like that it kind of bucked that stereotype as well.
Yeah.
So I thought that was handled really well too.
Yeah, I agree. I liked that just kind of shift that they did with that character and not going with some of the stereotypes and the tropes and everything for that role. And yeah, he just seemed like a nice dude, just living in the water tower, over by the water tower. And he's like, she never comes this far.
And then boom.
Oh, man. And then one of my favorite things happened is like she rips off his arm and then beats him with it. Like, I'm a little bit of a sucker when someone is beating someone with a piece of someone. It makes me giddy for some real weird fucking reason.
Hilarious.
But so I probably, as great as Andre was, I probably enjoyed his death scene a little too much. But like I said, they do the thing that I really, really like. So
that's funny.
I'm also a sucker for movies with the flashbacks. And we get the flashback in this movie to learn about the house and the owner and everything. What did you think of that? And how terrible and icky is Frank? And
he's horrible, but I really love how sparse that is because it's like you get only like, 5-10 minutes with him. Mm-hmm. It's not even that much time. It's not anywhere close to what you get with everybody else. And I appreciate that because I think most movies, what they would have done is you would have spent like maybe like half an hour with him and gone through and seen him like, because you know he's preparing to kidnap a new woman. And so you would have probably seen him kidnap her. You would have, you know, when he goes into his house and he goes downstairs to the basement and you just hear the woman scream, but you don't see anything. And you would have seen, in other movies, you would have seen him assault someone. You would have seen like some kind of violence. And I will always appreciate that they never did that in this movie. You never once see anything. You don't see what's on those tapes. You don't have to. That's the thing, is that Zach Kreger knew you don't have to see sexual assault to get the point across. It's not necessary. And I know during that time, some people were like, well, why didn't you spend more time with Frank? Why didn't you like delve more into this? And it's like, well, that really wasn't necessary. There's no point in doing that. You get everything from him walking in the grocery store. You know this character, the way he is, the way, how cold he is and detached. And when he goes to that woman's house and pretends to be, you know, like with the city or with the electric, I don't know which one it was, and goes up to the bathroom and unlocks the bathroom window. And when he leaves, there's even like this moment where like, even though he's never really presented as like charming, but any sense of charm or warmth disappears like the second he walks out there, out of the house, out of her house. And it's just so well done because it's like the actor does a great job, because it's like, you know who this character is without having to spend too much time with him. And I do like that at the end, it's almost like the person he abused, the people he abused in a way, even though they're not the ones who kill him, he takes his own life. But you have got to think that he's probably been stuck down there with the mother, and she's now in charge, so to speak. And I don't know, there's kind of like this almost just reward to that he's been stuck down in that room for so long. And I love that. So I will always appreciate that, though, because I remember seeing those tapes and seeing like the names on them and going, oh, great, we're going to have to see like whatever's on them. And sometimes that's okay in a movie. I just don't think it's necessary in this one, because you get the horrors. You get the horror just through the mother character. You don't need to see the actual assaults.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm glad that, you know, he didn't show any of the assault, because like you said, you get it. You get
Yeah.
You get it. We don't need to like beat a dead horse with this one. And for people to be like, to question that and to be like, why didn't you show it? Like, let's check their hard drives. They're not, that's not okay response to that. And since I forgot to have it written down, Richard Brake plays Frank. So, and then I saw on IMDb that he was at one of the screenings, and there's a row of like some girls in front of him, and getting ready to leave, they saw him and they recognized him from the movie and ran screaming in the other direction. So he
That's
did
hilarious.
just fine being terrifying.
That's absolutely hilarious. I love that.
And it's like you said, we don't get a lot of Frank, but it's like that little bit of screen time. He doesn't really talk a whole hell of a lot, but the way he carries himself, just it's menacing and it's scary, because you see him just kind of masking with the neighborhood. Like he talks to his neighbor and he waves to his neighbors and everything. And he just seems so like normal-ish, you know, maybe on the quiet side, shy side or something, but like he knows how to present himself to the rest of the world. And then, like you said, it's like he shifts from being on to not, and now he just can go on and be creepy and gross and everything. So his performance, I thought, was also very, very good, because it got all of that across with only a few minutes of screen time. And just him shopping and following a woman, truly. Like,
Yeah, and that's all you needed.
yeah.
And him
That's
saying
it.
to his neighbor, when his neighbor's like, I'm selling, are you going to be selling? I'm never leaving here. And, well, he never does leave there.
Nope. I thought it was interesting, too, when AJ was running down the hall or down the tunnels and he comes to the door, the room where Frank is at. We see Mother coming down the dark tunnel, very creepy, and just slowly coming into view from that dark. That is so creepy. I love it. But she obviously knows whose room that is, and she slowly backs away. Do you think that's because she's still, like, she fears Frank still? Or maybe any other, just avoidance? Like, what was your take on that? I'm just curious.
Probably both. Probably a combination of both, I would say. She definitely has a lot of trauma. I mean, I think, sorry, this is probably like going off on not really what your question was, but I think like, the fact that she goes and she breaks into the water tower, and that's not something she had ever done before. I think the main reason she did that is she was trying to get Tess back. I really think that's a lot of what it was. She was trying to protect Tess, and she doesn't understand. And so in her brain, because of Frank, all men are terrible and all men are going to attack. And so then here's this woman, and maybe in her mind, part of her was like, I am going to protect, this woman from another man. And I think that's part of the reason she went, out and went in where she never had gone before. But I think with Frank, I think it's a combination of both. I think it's that deep-seated fear. And I'm sure whoever was her mother, she probably had to witness horrible atrocities there. Mm-hmm. And she's probably been assaulted by Frank. And so, I think there's a combination of she knows Frank probably can't hurt her now. Or maybe she doesn't. Because she's not really altogether there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think she also fears him because he's the one who created all of this. So it's like, she probably doesn't think he can hurt her, but yet at the same time, she's like, he's like the father almost, to her. I mean, he is her father. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's just that combination of avoidance and fear that she has.
Yeah. Okay. That was my take, but I wasn't sure if maybe there was like something else that you might have picked up on or anything. So that's why I was curious. And maybe she did or didn't know that Frank had the gun. And so maybe that would be another reason for her to steer clear is that, maybe he can't get up and physically attack her anymore, but yeah, he's armed. So yeah. And then I did think it was kind of interesting-ish, I guess, that Frank decides to take his own life after AJ finds them, and he's like, "The cops are I'm gonna get out of here. We're gonna save you, and the cops are gonna be all over this place, and this and that." And then Frank's like pointing to where the gun is. It's like, yeah, because you're cooked, buddy. So I was like, good. AJ accidentally did a good thing. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Do you think, I don't know why this got stuck in my brain when I was rewatching it the other night, but I guess because I always kind of assumed that with Frank, the woman that is in his basement that we hear screaming, whatever reason, always assumed or thought that that was maybe his first victim or his first child. But I don't know that it was. I think we just got plopped into Frank's world just in the middle of Frank being Frank doing Frank things. What? And not that
Frank doing Frank things.
But like, did you get any sense of like, he's been doing this for a while, or did you just not think of it because you're like, dude, ew? I'm just curious.
It's a good question because this is like right when Reagan's about to take office, so like 1980, and this is taking place in 2022, I believe. Mm-hmm. So quite a few years, just a little bit. So you've got to think that he probably, I mean, because he's probably in his 40s. And I would think he's probably done this before. I mean, he strikes me as someone who's done this like forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he probably killed people too. I mean, I'm assuming he killed people.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know this, of course, but I would assume there's probably some bodies buried in that tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that was his first victim. And you don't know if like that was the victim that ended up being part of the bloodline of, because that victim's pregnant. So you would assume so because he's getting all the pregnancy supplies. So then that also leads you to wonder, like, is he also doing this to have a baby and then to continue this whole thing? Which is one of those questions that I don't need an answer for, but it's just interesting to me because of how he's going to get all those supplies where it's like, we're going to keep this baby instead of being like, I'm going to kill this baby, Mm-hmm. And I mean, having that videotape about breastfeeding and which was so creepy.
That was very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. So, he's probably shown that to quite a few of his victims. So,
yeah. Yeah, I was kind of curious about that because, like I said, the first time watching it, I don't know, I guess I just kind of assumed or just thought like, oh, this is his first victim. But I'm like, no, he seems like he knows what he's doing. And it's like, yeah, there's got to be bodies somewhere. And we don't see all of the tunnels because, AJ takes that right and that leads him to Frank's door. I don't remember what was left, but I feel like there's more tunnels that we didn't see. And so it's like, well, how far reaching are they?
Yeah.
There's got to be someplace with dead bodies because there's no way he's letting those women go. Plain and simple. And then it's like, if a woman gave birth to a son.
Yeah.
So I was just like, so everything, I'm like making my notes last night. I'm like, everything just got worse because I hadn't really thought about those things. And now I'm like, oh God, those tunnels are no good. That's a bad place. So, but yeah, I still can't help but wonder. I'm just like, but what about this? And what about that? And like you, I don't necessarily need answers to these, but they creeped into my brain last night and they've been hanging out there with the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack. So it's just been real fun up in my brain the last 24 hours. So, okay. So you also don't like Airbnbs. I'm just curious. What is your reason for not liking Airbnbs?
Well, this kind of fits in with this movie. So I stayed in Airbnb when I went to San Diego Comic-Con in 2022 and I was covering it as media. Mm-hmm. And a few of us stayed in an Airbnb there. Someone else rented it out.
Oh, I remember.
And there was, first of all, it was so hot and they didn't have AC. So it was really miserable in there. It was very old, like Victorian house, run down, kind of dirty. It was in a really bad area of town. And then they had a spiral staircase up to one of the rooms. And you go up there and there's a closet. And I know it's just part of like what they're offering, but it still was creepy. And there was a high chair just in the corner. Mm-hmm. Like, I still have a picture of it in the corner, just facing the wall. And both me and another Erin A, we were like, what the fuck? We were so creeped out. Poor Erin had to sleep in the room up there too because I'm not sleeping up here. And we know it was just left there, for someone who has kids, but it felt so weird just the way it was positioned facing the wall, like someone did something bad and it just, they were being punished or something. That's the way it felt. Mm-hmm. So that's my only experience with an Airbnb. And so I've just been like, no, thank you. I know people love them. I just don't trust them. Plus, you have to do so much. You don't have
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I have to clean your fucking house now. Like, I understand picking up after myself, but like, you want me to run the dishwasher and take out the trash, and it's like, you want me to mop the floors and fucking wash the windows too? What the hell? I'm on vacation. I'm not doing those things.
Yeah, I'd rather stay in a hotel. And I'm not saying hotels are always great because they're not, but I mean, I'd rather stay in a hotel than stay in someone's house because you never know. I mean, like, I know I worked for these people that did like home remodels and stuff, and they also had a house that was an Airbnb, and we would sometimes have meetings there. And it was a nice house, but this was a nice remodeled house. It didn't feel like this other place did. So I think if you get nice places, it's probably different, but
yeah. When it first came out and people were like, oh, people are renting out their homes and, it's so nice. And I'm just like, what kind of pervert rents out their fucking home to strangers? I have never cared. I've been sus of Airbnbs forever. And like you said, it's not like hotels are problem free or issue free or pervert free. I just feel like there's more of a liability and accountability, like instant. It's like you get checked in your room and there's like a camera or something. Well, you can go down to the front desk and raise hell and get something done about it immediately. You call the cops, do whatever it is you need to do. With the Airbnb, it's like, what if you're like Tess and Frank and you can't get a hold of these people? And then it's like, is there another, this is a little separate, but like, is there a different like renting company that works with AJ and working with, I don't know, Frank or something? Because the lady that AJ talked to was like, no, there haven't been renters there in a while. And it's like, who's handling the renting out of the Airbnb actually? So, but either way, yeah, I don't trust them. And it's like, yeah, now I worry that if I do rent an Airbnb, am I supporting a pervert? Am I supporting a bad person? Because I don't want to do that.
You should watch the movie The Rental.
Oh, should I? I'm going to write it down. Okay.
Dave Franco directed it.
All right. Oh, man. Let's see. Anything else that you just really need to get off your chest?
I'm sure there's like 100 things. I still don't know what it means, but for some reason, like, how in Tessa's car, there's like a snake charm in it. And I've just always wondered, like, what that is supposed to symbolize. Like a snake in the Garden of Eden. I don't know, but I don't know. I still haven't figured it out because it's just kind of interesting to me that they're always showing it and it's never really like, answered, which is fine. I just always wondered kind of what,
like if there was a reason or anything.
Yeah. I don't know why. It just kind of, stuck out to me this time. It didn't stick out to me as much other times I've watched this, but it really did in this one. Just because there's so many camera angles of it, it was like
there are, and I hadn't really noticed that until my rewatch. Like, because I watched it last night, but also the night before, because I'm like, I'm going to be super ready. So, but yeah, they show it quite a bit. And I know I saw something on IMDb that I think maybe just theorized it, but it had to do with, here it is. When AJ is first shown, he's singing along to Donovan's Ricky Tikki Tavi. The lyrics are about how you have to, quote, kill the snakes yourself without the help of official institutions. Later in the film, Tess will have to rescue AJ and ultimately kill the mother herself without the help of the police. Also, in several significant shots, it is shown that Tess has a brass snake charm hanging from her rearview mirror of her car. And that's all that was written about that. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I mean, I don't think there's anything in this movie that is accidentally there. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like everything's kind of deliberate in this movie.
I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what this movie is ultimately about. That's why it's so amazing to me that this was written and directed by a man and a white man on top of it all. is that this movie really is about men and their reactions being so different than women to dangerous situations and how they have to be. Because even though I understand when you were talking earlier about Keith and Keith's reaction to when Tess finds that room, at the same time, I think that also plays into that because he's kind of like, why are you freaking out about this?
Yes.
Why? It's not that big a deal. Whereas I think if another woman had been there and she'd said, look, I found this room. There was a bucket. There was a camera. There was a bed. I think most women would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Let's go. And so I think that's another way that examines it. Like everything in this is about how, even the cops, well, cops are pointless anyway, or awful anyway. So, and they were reacting that also because of the way she looked. But they're both men. So there's also that. And I mean, yes, you have, what's his name again? Andre?
Yeah. Yep.
Because I didn't write it down. You do have Andre warning her, but I think that's also because he's an unhoused individual and he's got to be more alert too. So
good point.
That still fits in with that. But it really is just about how women always have to be on the lookout for danger and men don't, statistically have to, and how different these people are reacting to the different situations they are in. And then the last thing is, okay, I've worked in real estate for forever, and it just kills me that no one before, like, even discovered this area that you know of, because it's just like, they wouldn't have thought when they did the appraisal, the appraiser is not going to go look. I mean, I know there are things that people find later when they buy houses. I understand that, but it still seemed weird. And then also, how did AJ get this house? Because if Frank is still alive and he's down there, was he just like presumed dead and like he had some relatives somewhere? I'm fine with not knowing this stuff.
Sure.
It's just little things that I'm like, because I've seen enough TikToks of people when they move into houses and they're like, oh my God, I found a body. Yeah. I'm serious. There's like one that was recent, or like, oh my gosh, there's a skeleton or a head, a skeleton of a head, not a head. But
Yeah.
So I know it can happen. It just, that was one thing I was curious about. And like, how many people have stayed in this Airbnb and no one else has discovered this. So
yeah.
But like I said, I don't care. It doesn't take away from the movie. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah. I hadn't really thought about the fact that, Frank was still alive and with AJ owning the house. So I guess my only thing is that, Frank was presumed, my theory is Frank was presumed dead, went back to the banks and he scooped it up for cheap or something, because he seems like someone that would do that.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's good. That's got to be it. Yeah. He probably got it in like a group sale or something where they probably had a bunch of foreclosures, and he got that. Because you can get like, houses are cheaper there than say like here if you're going to remodel, but like he didn't even seem to remember that he had those houses.
Yeah.
And he obviously had never seen them.
No. God, he's just the worst. And the way he just goes through their stuff. I understand, like, he doesn't know what's going on. And, so it's like part of that can kind of be excused. But when he finds Tessa's laptop and tries to guess the password, like, first of all, fuck you for thinking you can guess someone's password. But then the way he just tosses it behind him, I was like, oh my God, you are the worst person ever.
He's so horrible.
Yeah. So that the baby bottle with the hair on the nipple. Yeah, I got cue gagging noises. So according to IMDb, there was a hair from the mother's wig that got stuck onto the nipple, And Zach loved it. He thought it was like funny and gross, so he added more.
Ew. I mean, he's right, but ew.
Every time that just makes me like cringe and just like, that's so gross. Oh, I remember. So when you were saying that, women, we have to be that much more like hyper aware and of our situations and our surroundings and everything, and what this movie and how this movie shows that. Tess straight away, well, not straight away, but in the beginning when her and Keith are talking and she's like, if the roles were reversed, if I'd gotten here first, no way I would have let you in.
Yeah.
And it was almost adorable how he seemed a little surprised. So again, it's these things that we always are thinking about that men never have to think about, I'm going to recall this poorly, but there's like a clip from the Graham Norton show. And so it's like, you got your celebrities on the couch and there's 3 men and a woman. I can't remember who they were specifically, but, and they're talking about like kind of personal safety and whatnot. And the men, like, they're not making fun of the situation, but kind of lightly joking about what they would do to protect themselves and this and that. And then the woman speaks up and she says something like, oh yeah, we have to do that all the time, like walking with like the keys through our fingers and this and that. And the shift in the tone, the guys are all like, clip. Yeah, okay, so you know which one I'm talking about. And they're like, oh, yeah, good point. It's like, you fucking boys.
You don't even understand what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wish I could remember who that was, because I remember watching that clip I love watching Graham Norton clips because I think people are so entertaining on his show.
That has got to be one of the better talk shows out there. The vibe seems so chill and relaxed. It's like the most random grouping too. And he is just a hoot. So Graham himself is a hoot. So that is a fun show to watch. And I love the stories that the celebrities have too. It's not your pre-written, pre-approved stories that are like family friendly or whatever, that, these canned anecdotes that they give on like every talk show when they go and do the talk show circuit. You get some pretty unhinged shit on the Graham Norton show. And I love it so much because you don't get all those dumb stories. Boring. Sorry. All right. Anything else? Time for stray bubbles? Any last notes, fun facts, questions that you don't really need an answer for? Anything like that left?
It's so gross to me that Keith has his electric toothbrush on the floor of the bathroom. That is so vile and disgusting. I understand he's plugging it in, but at the same time, you can, as someone who has an electric toothbrush, you can leave those unplugged for a long time. You don't need to have it plugged in and sitting on the floor of a bathroom.
Yes.
That's so gross.
So disgusting. So gross. I'm glad you brought that up because that just icks me out like every time. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. When we go on trips, we still pack just plain regular manual toothbrushes because I'm not dealing with having an outlet and not keeping them on the floor or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just easier for just with a regular old toothbrush. And now for sure, never, because I don't want to take that chance.
Yeah, and it seemed like nobody seemed to have a problem with that. And I'm like, it's so weird.
It is super weird. And it's like they show it like 2 or 3 times.
I know.
And I'm like, y'all are just like, eh. And I'm just like, no.
No. No. I do love, though, that she does take a picture of his driver's license. Mm-hmm. And he looks, granted, I look so mad and mean in my driver's license picture, but that's because they're like, don't smile. And I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, I'm going to look like I'm going to murder someone. But and so he looks almost like he's getting ready to go to battle, like he's a Marine or something. If I were to see that picture, I'd be like, okay, there's something off about this guy. But I love it when later after they've had their little drinking of wine and their meet cute everything. And she's sitting there looking at it, and she's doing a close up, and she's like smiling. She's like, oh, can't believe I met a man while I was here too.
You know, they need to be in like Hard Eyes 2 or whatever next rom-com horror movie there's going to be, because you're right. They have an amazing chemistry.
They do.
And I just thought they worked very well together. And there is that little bit of like a dash of rom-com-y, like you said, with the meet cute and everything. Yeah. And so it'd be fun to kind of see that played out a little bit more in the rom-com horror genre, which totally needs to be a bigger thing, please and thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to say, and I just would love to see Bill Skarsgård in more roles where he's not the bad guy. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't see The Crow because I'm not going to. So yeah, I refuse to. But yeah, he always plays like the bad guy. When he seems like a nice guy in real life. You know, on It, because of all the kids there, he'd always make sure to check in with the kids. I love that he'd check in with the kids and, you know, and make sure they knew he wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what a sweetie. What a sweet little Skarsgård. I love that family. The Skarsgårds. Big Papa Skarsgård and all of them. How many are there? Are there like 6 kids? Like children of Big Papa Skarsgård? I
don't know if there's 6 or 4. I think they're all, I'm probably wrong. I was going to say I think they're all male men, but I don't know. Let me see.
Because I feel like, so I think there's got to be at least 4, because I think in the last month or so I learned that there was a 4th one, and I was surprised. Like, more?
They just keep being made. Let's see. How many does... Oh, he's got 8 children total because he's been married twice.
Okay.
He had 6 children with his first wife and then 2 children with his current wife.
Okay. Holy crap. That's goddamn. Well, congrats. I don't know.
That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids.
Wow. I'm wondering who's the parent of, sorry, now I got
sent you down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, and the children of his current wife, I've never even heard of them. Ozian and Kolbroj. I can't pronounce that. That's funny.
Wow, that's a few more than I thought. So there's even more than I realized. So, well, good on you. I don't know.
Way to go. Way to go planting your seed.
Woo, all right. Well, and on that note, we'll go ahead and move on to the Midwest goodbye. And this is the beginning of the end, where we've done our whelp knee slap, and we're going to stand at the door and continue saying goodbye for a few more minutes. So first up is the 6 Degrees of Nicolas Cage, where we connect this movie to Nicolas Cage in 6 steps or less. Why? Because why the fuck not? Erin, how'd you do?
I like mine because I like one of the films I use because I've never heard of it, but you'll see why. So I used Justin Long, and Justin Long was in Duck, a film by Kevin Bacon. Never heard of this film. Huh. And I think it's like supposed to be duck, like a duck.
Like the animal? Yeah. Okay. Instead of like the watch out kind of duck.
I mean, yeah, I love Kevin Bacon. So I love it when you can use Kevin Bacon in these. Mm-hmm. So, and Kevin Bacon was in Cave Dweller with Sherilyn Fenn, who was in Wild at Heart with Nicolas Cage.
Excellent. Good job. I went with Bill Skarsgård. He was in Hemlock Grove with Famke Janssen, and she was in Primal with Nicolas Cage. They're
Awesome.
so easy.
Did you ever watch Hemlock Grove?
I did. I watched, I think maybe like the first, I never finished it. I know
Same.
that. I think it was one of the first like series that I quickly lost interest in. I don't know what exactly happened. Like, like with Orange is the New Black, it was one of those like 2 years between each season, and I fucking lost interest. And after the riot and losing a fan favorite, I also was kind of done. I watched that season afterwards, which was like the aftermath of the riot, but I stopped after that. But yeah, with Hemlock Grove, I was like super into it. And then I wasn't. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I swear, I think we've maybe had this conversation before because I'm like, that's exactly what happened to me. Because I watched it and I was like, okay, this seems weird and up my alley. And then I was like, just fell off of it.
Yeah. The spell wore off or something. So
Yeah.
I've kind of thought about going back and rewatching it and trying to finish it. But honestly, I'm not drawn to it. I don't feel any major pull to do so because, I stopped watching it just,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that one was, I think Eli Roth does have producer credits on that one too.
That's why we were talking about it, because we were talking about Eli Roth for some reason. Why were we talking about Eli Roth?
We were talking about Hemlock Grove, and I said,
Okay.
I think he has, because I was like, yeah, I think he's like a writer or producer. And you were like, what? And then I couldn't find it right away. And so I just was like, maybe I'm wrong. So
yeah, I remember. Yeah, now I remember that. Anyway.
All right. And up next is what's been streaming on in your bubble. So Erin, what else have you been watching, or if not watching much, what have you been like reading, or what else have you been up to?
Reading. Like I have time, but no, I would love to have more time for reading. Although I have to reread Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz, one of my favorite books anyway. So we're going to be talking about it on my podcast. But so I was watching Severance. I'm still watching Severance. We were going to do an episode on my podcast, and then my two panelists all of a sudden are going to be out of town. So we're still going to do like a Patreon episode on that. So I've been watching Severance. I've been watching Mad About You because I love Mad About You, and it's on Hulu now. So that's been like my comfort watch. I went and saw Weapons. Speaking of Zach Kreger, so I went and saw Weapons. I loved it. The trailer, once again, gives you nothing except for kind of the basic premise, but you would never be able to guess what the movie is from the trailer.
Ooh.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I can understand why some people might have issues with a certain thing. I'm not going to say because I think you should go in as blind as possible. But I love how well it's doing because horror is taking the most chances of anything as usual. So, and I feel like there's something else. I'm sure there's something else that I can't. I feel like there is something else I was going to mention that I. This is embarrassing. So I've been watching.
Oh my goodness.
And I've never really watched most of these, but I've been watching Bachelor in Paradise. Because it's so ridiculous. And it knows it's ridiculous. Like it actually has a sense of humor.
Okay.
Don't ask me. I don't know. It's so stupid. I should not have admitted that, but
well, you did, and now it's out there. So no.
Forever.
Oh man. Well, people love those shows. I guess. That's kind of cool that it has a sense of humor and about itself, so doesn't take itself too seriously. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, I think like everyone needs like something that doesn't require a lot of thought and is entertaining, no matter what that might be. We all need that.
That's true. That's definitely mine. And Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. For my husband, it's all like the Gold Rush shows and all that, all the Discovery Plus shit. He fucking loves all of those because you don't have to think. You just watch these people dig for gold. I don't fucking know. I usually play on my phone when he's watching those. But when he's and a new season of Deadliest Catch just started, so we've been watching that. We've watched all 21 seasons of that fucking show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I have become, I hate to say it. Okay, so confession time, now my turn. I hate to say how I've become attached to some of these captains and fishermen. It's fucking weird.
Are you going to cover this soon on the podcast?
I think that's all I have to say. Okay, well, one thing. So there's one captain, Jake. When he started on the show, he started as a greenhorn and really worked his way up. So once he finally got like a boat and was a captain, I kept telling my husband, I was like, I'm so proud of our boy.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God. Yep, that's it. Now I can now check Deadliest Catch off my list. So, just kidding. So we are still, but nearly done. We have one more episode of Bones left. We've got the series finale. I am so excited to be done watching this fucking show. I have enjoyed it. I love this show. It has been a blast. Season 11 pissed me off, way the fuck off. And I'm thinking I'm going to do like a mini bubble because I need to yell about it a little bit more. I haven't yelled about it enough, even though I yelled at the TV for like all of season 11. It's like, I fucking hate you. But excited to finally be done with Bones. I don't even know how long we've been watching it. I think I may have jokingly said we'd be done in like August, and we're finishing up in August. So, because my husband has limited TV watching time and we don't watch a lot of different things when we're focused kind of on one show. So I'm pretty excited because we're going to finish Bones and he's going to start watching The Bear season 4. So, which means I get to watch The Bear season 4 for the 4th or 5th time. So I'm excited because I think he's really going to like this season. And more confessions. We've gotten so soft in our old age and being parents and whatnot. Like every teeny tiny thing can make us fucking cry. And there was like a soft moment in an episode of Bones the other night that got to my husband, and I looked at him and he's just like, oh, it got me. He's like rubbing his eyes and everything. So I kind of can't wait for him to be crying his eyeballs out during The Bear season 4.
That's funny.
Because I bawled my eyeballs out during that season. So I just know I'll have the tissues ready, and I'm so excited. And then we did start watching Andor season 2. So speaking of Papa Skarsgård, so had a little double duty with the Skarsgårds. Oh my God. And on that note, that's going to do it for us today. Erin, thank you so much for being here today and talking about this movie with me. I love that we both love it. So I knew this one was not going to ever be on the Twin It list.
Yeah.
So
it would have been stupid to have it on there. Let me guess.
You loved it. Yeah. So one last time for the listeners, Erin, if you want to let everyone know where they can find It's a Fandom Thing.
You can find us wherever you're listening to this. And also, if you prefer listening to your podcast on Pandora, you can go and do that. That's like our 3rd most popular platform, I believe, listening platform. Did you get on Pandora?
No. Every time I went to go submit, right? Because after the last time, like you, me, and Carla did an episode, and she's like, and I'm on Pandora. It made me laugh editing because you were like, oh, Jen, that's gotta hurt. Like, it does. But the problem is, even if I have email verification turned on through Podbean, when I go to Pandora to submit, it says there's no email associated with this podcast. I was like, you're fucking on drugs because you've emailed me at that email address about the podcast. So
they just don't like you. I
they
don't know what
really
you did to them. But
I don't know either.
They have it out for you.
Well, I used to use Pandora, and then Spotify came along, and so maybe that's what they never got over the breakup. I get it, Pandora. I get it. No.
Wow. But you can find all our past episodes and links to our social media and everything at itsafandomthingpod.com. I don't know why I'm singing that last part.
I don't know, but it was nice. I liked it. It's very sweet. All right. So everyone make sure you go and check out Erin's website and podcast. And yeah. And okay. Sorry. My words got all fucked up. Thank you all for listening. And keep streaming. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to let me know by rating and reviewing on a podcast player near you, and by sharing your favorite episodes with your friends, family, and mail carrier. Then be sure to follow me on all your favorite socials like Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Just search My Streaming Bubble and I should pop on up there for ya. If you have suggestions on what I should stream in my bubble next, or you want to be tolerated, send an email to mystreamingbubble@gmail.com. Looking for merch? Stop by my Redbubble store where you can find and buy My Streaming Bubble stickers, hats, shirts, and more. You can also head over to buymeacoffee.com and, well, buy me a coffee. Need more podcast me in your life? Then be sure to check out my other podcast, Twin It to Win It. That's a monthly podcast that I co-host with my podcast brain twin, Erin from It's a Fandom Thing, where we test our twinningness by trying to guess if we both feel the same way about different horror movies. You can find and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. And most importantly, you can listen, rate, review, and share from most podcast players. Thank you for your support, and keep streaming. Goodbye.